The Atlantic slave trade was actually less cruel than the Muslim slave trade going on in the Middle East. At before before and around the same time of the Atlantic slave trade. Now, the reason I say that that the fact that the Atlantic slave trade was less cruel, how much that means is questionable, is because, of course, slavery is a massive tragedy that's been going on throughout human history. But remember that it's been going on now. It's been going on throughout the entirety of human history, from the very first tribal cultures that would capture and enslave the captives of wars they fought with other tribes around the area. That's my bird clock again. You might notice it's the next morning. I had to add a second part to this talk this next morning. I had a hard night last night and I was really tired. Anyway, so to say that the aftermath, that the cultural consequences of slavery is still holding blacks back, suppressing their potential in the Western world, is basically the very racist argument in and of itself, saying there's no way for them to overcome that. Which is not true. There are a lot of subcultures of the black community who unfortunately are anti-educational achievement. Even in the schools I went to, I would hear this from other black students, some of which I felt very sorry for, that this was happening to them. The idea that they would hear from their peers that if you do well in school, you are acting white. And aren't we supposed to be taught to be aware of and try to resist negative peer pressure in school for whatever reason? No, of course, much easier said than done. Of course, especially at the teenage age when everything is centered around peers and how you appear to peers. But this is a problem, and it's not a problem. It is not a perspective that is being forced by the white communities. And it's almost, whites get called racist for the littlest things these days, and honestly, a lot of blacks and Hispanics and other minority cultures are themselves actually starting to get tired of it. There's been too much race warmongering, actually more by politicians than the general public. It's quite tragic, and Obama is just fueling it. I'm glad he is almost out of the White House. It's voting day today, but he's done lasting damage, a lot of lasting damage all over the world, and a lot of people fear, rightly so, that Hillary Clinton is going to be doing the same thing. And Barack Obama, really, what he should be doing is talking about, if he must, the pros and cons of each presidential candidate, but he is 100% behind Hillary Clinton, and everyone who supports Donald Trump, no matter what race, no matter what gender, no matter what reasons, are being called deplorables by Hillary Clinton, by the left, a lot of times by their own families. I myself have been subject to this, but I've actually had my opinions dashed to the ground by a lot of other people for a lot of other reasons. So I'm quite used to it, and I'm which is not a good thing, but I've almost come to expect it, and I at least have enough experience of it to pretty much say, you know what, I'm just going to do what I feel is right, which is what each person should feel free and safe in doing, although we don't actually live in a safe world, that's a fantasy. But each person should feel free to vote and to do what they feel is right, and to argue why they feel is right without being called a monster, which the Democrats are not letting the Republicans doing. This has not been a fair race. This has not been a fair presidential run. This world, this supposedly free world of the West, of America, has been declining in freedom. Freedom to express yourself, freedom to be who you are. The very freedom of speech itself, one of the foundations that America was built on, is being thrown out the window in exchange for people's temporary feeling that they are portraying themselves as diverse, as tolerant, when the actual way they're doing so is by bashing anyone who so much as brings up an alternate opinion. The internet, the greatest resource, the greatest medium for free speech to come along, in and of itself, has been handed over to the United Nations just recently, and a lot of people didn't even know that this was happening. It was kept absolutely quiet. There was no discussion about it throughout the country, as there should have been. When did you hear that brought up as an issue for the American people to discuss and debate? It was done completely under our noses. And the few of us who found out about it in time, who caught it in time and tried to send letters to our representatives, be quiet, phone. I'll get to you later. Let's see, I took care of the kitties too. Or was I? Oh yes, the handing over of the internet to the UN. And where was the nationwide discussion about that there should have been? And the few of us who tried to talk to our representatives, who tried to act in the brief amount of time that we had before it was done, we're either able to do so little in that amount of time, or our voices counted for so little that we just got shoved to the side. We just got passed over. And I can't quite remember if I addressed this in the last video or not. It's the next morning. It's early. Oh, hey. That's my brother. Hey, you want to talk a bit? Or no? Let's see. I was going to mention the call from Saudi Arabia to ban all criticism of all religions over the internet, over social media or mediums, ban the criticism of all religion to spread tolerance. Saudi Arabia is one of the least tolerant cultures in the world, so it's just funny that an intolerant religion, an intolerant culture thinks it can talk to us about religious tolerance. I may have made that point in the video last night, I can't quite remember. Oh, but let's talk about this. Okay, I got this voter guide in the mail some weeks ago. Now, I had pretty much decided who I was voting for already. But it's just funny to go through all these. It compares Hillary Clinton to Donald Trump on a number of issues. Really just naming the title of the issue, not giving any details, but we've heard... okay, the two sides are different. We've heard them speak, and... Are you comparing them?
Yeah,
well, let's read.
Yes and no.
Yes and no. Right. It gives us whether they support or don't support, which is actually way too simple an answer, really. Whether they support or don't support certain issues. So I don't know. You want to just go through them and say what we think, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, Hillary Clinton on one side, Donald Trump on the other. Whether they... okay, as president... okay, these are the issues. Abortion on demand. Hillary Clinton, yes. Donald Trump, no. Oh, God. Okay, this is already starting with one of the most complex issues in existence. I know Donald Trump has said there should be consequences for women seeking abortions, and Hillary Clinton has said they should... I think she's even said they should be free, if I heard that right. They should be paid for by the government. That there should be no consequences. You know, that one is really on a case-by-case basis kind of issue. No one answer can cover all situations. It's really... I think it's too complicated to... I think it's too complicated to just say yes or no. To say there should be consequences or not consequences. This is... I think actually making it illegal is probably a really bad idea. Because then you're going to get people going to illegal and very dangerous methods of doing so, and we don't want that. So... But that's too complicated for just a yes or no. Repeal Obamacare. Hillary Clinton, no. Donald Trump, yes. I don't know. What do you know about Obamacare?
Well, I know... What do I know about Obamacare?
You know, I admit...
I
admit I don't know a massive amount.
I don't know.
It's...
I don't know that much about it. I think it was like free health insurance for everybody or free insurance? Not
It's
exactly
either
sure.
free, yeah, it's either
It's some
free,
type of free
free health
insurance.
insurance or free health care. The problem,
If you can't get it.
right, the problem with calling anything free is that nothing is free. And who's
especially
going
with
to pay
health,
for it?
especially with health insurance. Like,
Yeah,
everything there costs a lot, and if you make it free, the money has to come from somewhere.
right,
So,
now,
he tries to make it free, and if he acts like it's free, and I don't even know where he gets the money, do you know?
actually, I did talk to Dad a little bit about this. The actual part of the actual truth, I don't know the whole span of it, but part of the truth is that the government is actually secretly funding it, and of course the government spending is out of control. Now, ideally, here's what could work: is that every working person with a salary could contribute some percentage of the paycheck. I mean, not that of course people who make a good amount of money aren't already being robbed a lot of their money for taxes. But what could work is that healthcare could be paid for by simply a percentage of everyone's taxes. That everyone who works contributes some amount over the course of their life to among taxes for other things. Now, we don't want to make the tax rate too high, because then people are going to want to stop paying taxes. They're going to want to hide their money. But some percentage can go to a healthcare pool that can then pay for people's healthcare and insurance, and maybe they need to pay a little extra upfront. I don't know entirely how it would work, but we can't keep the government can't just keep pouring gigantic amounts of money that come from nowhere or that come from unrealistic sources into these programs, with no control to them. And of course,
Yeah.
that's what they're doing these days.
Like, eventually they're gonna run out of money to put into it, and if they want to keep on keeping it going, which they probably will,
Right.
they'll have to loan money, and then we'll get into even more debt.
And we're already, what, $20 trillion in debt? Something that even
Something really
generations
high.
could never pay.
It's
Yeah.
trillions of dollars.
Yeah, I think it's like 20 trillion now or something. I'm sure it's going to be 30 trillion not too far in the future. Okay.
Well, remember that animated bank video that we watched?
Oh, we
About
should.
The banks?
I'll see if I can put a link to that. Yeah, it's a really good video about the scam, and the thievery of the central banks. I can't re-explain it myself
Yeah.
offhand, and actually you need to watch the video several times over to really get it. But oh boy. The government and the banks together, the amount of corruption there, I just can't. I can't even explain it well myself. We'll have to do more research on this. I'll see if I can put a link to the video. It's a good video. Let's see. Federal tax increase. Hillary Clinton, yes. Donald Trump, no. Again, we're moving towards out of control tax increases as well as spending. We do need to rein that in, and this is something Donald Trump's going to be good at. He knows how to handle money, he knows how to handle business, and I'm sorry, but most of these politicians, like Hillary Clinton, don't.
I mean, they say he has no idea how to work the economy, and he has no idea what he's gonna do, like all the tax cuts and how they're going to destroy the economy.
Yeah.
But he actually works with the economy. He has,
Mhm.
isn't it multi-million or multi-billion dollar business or something? I don't know.
Uh,
It's a really big business. and
Multi-billion.
yeah,
But-
multi-billion. But he actually knows about money, and he actually
Yeah.
knows what will and will not work. Plus,
He does.
if you look
Mm.
at like the tax increases, you can look over to like the UK, Britain. You can see their economy.
Mhm.
It taxes the rich an unbelievable amount,
Mhm.
and they're all leaving. All
And
the rich
they're
are
all leaving, and they're running out of money.
Yeah, and then you see Amazon. Amazon, like the company, they
Yeah.
were originally stationed in the United States, the headquarters. They didn't like the taxes,
Well, I
so
didn't.
they
Well, I
just.
didn't assume you meant the rainforest.
I don't think there'd be any taxes on that. But,
Actually, there probably are.
well,
Different issue.
yeah, well, they moved, since they didn't like the taxes, they moved over to Canada
Uh-huh.
and then kept on going. And they're still in Canada, and they have less taxes to pay, and more businesses and people who have money are going to do that because they don't like all the taxes.
Businesses are leaving the United States because the taxes are becoming too high and the regulations are becoming too much.
Yeah, and that means less profit for them and less of their money that they can actually keep. Like,
And it means less prosperity for America, actually.
yeah, like it shows in the bank video, one part of it shows one guy getting all this money
Uh-huh.
because he sold all the artifacts from the time ago. Remember the gas? Because the gas prices increased. But anyway, he
Yeah.
sold all this stuff and got all this money,
Uh-huh.
and then the government took over. Well, the government came over and took almost all of it because the taxes were so high, and he actually had so little money he couldn't even rebuy the stuff that he just sold.
Yeah, well, let's not reference the video too much because this is our own video. We'll try to link to it, but the government comes along and they can tax your savings, they can tax your prosperity, they can tax your income, they can tax you so much that that you can't do anything with what you make. You can't do anything with your money anymore.
Yeah.
That you can't even save money, actually. Yeah. Federal taxes and taxes on business, taxes on services, out of control taxes, they can kill anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Same-sex marriage. Hillary Clinton, yes. Donald Trump, no. I honestly don't care. Well, that's not entirely true. Here's the thing. I have no problem whatsoever with the what's it called, LGBT community, the lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgenders. Look, I live and let live. They can do what they want. Marriage in itself, people forget really the purpose of marriage in and of itself. Two people can live together for whatever reason they want. Marriage is a cultural contract between a male and female, usually starting from young ages, to come together and build a family and have children. It is a declaration of commitment to building a family. Now, of course, same-sex couples can do that, and they can adopt, but I just feel that people forget the origin and real purpose of marriage. Marriage is not a way for two people to say, we love each other. That is not what marriage is. Marriage is a commitment to building a family. That's what it was originally culturally for. And honestly, marriages are falling apart all over the world. I think we need a reform of that before we really need to be sticking our noses in who can and who can't. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't know, do you want to say anything?
No.
Okay. Common Core. Hillary Clinton, yes. Donald Trump, no. Okay. I'm going to try to link to another video. It's from Stefan Molyneux talking about the truth about Common Core. I don't myself know enough about it to give a large-scale opinion right now. It's about the taking over of the schools, and we talked a little bit about the schools yesterday. They're falling apart in performance, and at the same time they're trying to introduce all these new regulations and diversity type classes without updating the lessons to how they attribute to the real world of today at all.
They're doing a horrible job.
They're doing a horrible job. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't actually know what Common Core was, but I know what the issue with schools is, because
Yeah.
I'm still in school.
Oh,
And-
Common Core is scary. We'll have to look at the Stefan Molyneux video again ourselves. I've listened to it once. It's scary, and I'll try to link to it. Watch it
I
or
mean,
listen to it.
yeah, I'll have to learn more about it to
Yeah.
get a real opinion, but from what I can see in schools,
Uh-huh.
none of the classes are really helping.
Well, they're certainly not actually preparing you for adult life as they claim to be.
No, I mean,
That's
like,
totally
schools-
ridiculous.
One of the school's favorite classes, English.
Yeah.
I already know how to speak. I already know how to write. I know the structure of a paragraph. I know everything. Unless I'm gonna go out and be like a publisher or an editor.
No, not even
Or
a
an Eng-
publisher, like an expert on languages or something really obscure.
Yeah.
You're not
Not
gonna.
that many people do that.
Yeah, you're not going to need that into the teen years. And my God, they still have you structuring sentences all the way into your teenage years. It's ridiculous. And of course, reading books like To Kill a Mockingbird, which talks about a world from the 20s and 30s. I think it's set in the 1930s. That is not how the American world works today. It's great for it's great for a bit of history, and it's a great story, but it's not applicable to the world of today.
No.
Or, right, as we talked about Shakespeare's plays, which aren't meant to be written as books anyway.
And we read them as
I mean, aren't meant to be read as books. I said written as books. Read as
Yeah.
books, anyway. Yeah,
Or both.
yeah. Okay, school vouchers. I'm actually not sure what school vouchers are.
Me
Is
either.
this for free school? Again, if that's what it is, the money has to come from somewhere. Public schools, the money for public schools comes from property taxes in the neighborhoods. For private schools, it's the parents directly. For colleges, it's the parents and students directly, of course, and you're paying those off for like 20 or 30 years after you graduate, provided you even can. So, yeah, we do need a solution to that. It's not to make them all free, but we need some kind of solution.
Well, is there a single thing that they do agree on?
Probably
on this
not.
list? I mean, everything has no, yes, yes, no. There's no, 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 or yes, yes.
And most of them are far too complicated to give just a yes or no to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
but people assume they're simple.
Okay, amnesty for illegal aliens. That basically means pardon for illegal aliens so they can stay in the country. Okay, illegal aliens. Oh, Caldera, blow it. Okay, do we really need to go over this again? Every country has a right, and actually a responsibility, to protect its borders and to protect its own citizens. Right now, we have out-of-control immigration. We have illegal aliens pouring through the borders like they are gaping holes instead of much more like they're like a few would be allowed to come in through a legal process and through a door into the country. It's like we have no filtering of people who might be dangerous compared to those who are actually refugees and who want to just come to work and I'm looking for a word. Assimilate into American culture legitimately. We, not to mention Europe too, we and Europe have been under relentless terrorist attacks, and they are coming from Muslim countries and Muslim immigrants or second generations of Muslim immigrants. This is what is going on, and this is the reality. And Donald Trump says, let's take a break from this until we better understand what's going on and have a strategy to deal with it. There is no problem with that. So I'm completely with Donald Trump on this one.
Yeah, remember the yard example? Like the house example? Imagine you have like your house and your yard and there's a border, right?
Right.
Between your house and the next house and the street.
Yeah.
And would you like it if some homeless person just wandered into your backyard without your permission and started sleeping, and then moved into your house and started sleeping in your bed and eating your food in your refrigerator? Nobody likes that. You'd kick them out of your house. And
Well, that's an analogy to coming into the country and living off of welfare, which a lot of them are doing. A lot of them illegally, and of course having children in the country to anchor them as with the anchor babies. And a lot of them can't speak the language, don't know the customs, and they want our higher quality of life. But our higher quality of life has to be worked for.
yeah,
And it's falling apart as it is. We can't keep taking in people from all over the world in these kinds of numbers and taking care of them. We just can't handle it. No country can handle that.
yeah. I mean,
Iran nuclear deal. I assume that means keeping it and going along with it. Hillary Clinton, yes. Donald Trump, no. The Iran nuclear deal is a goddamn disaster.
they're laughing at us. I mean, it's one of the stupidest deals. It's like telling somebody, here you go. It's like you go in a school.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody has their phone out. You say, hey, don't have your phone out. He says, okay, and then you walk away out of the room and don't look at him anymore. He's gonna pull his phone right back out and he's gonna start playing on it. The Iran nuclear deal, we tell Iran, you cannot make nuclear weapons.
You can develop
And-
nuclear technology, but you can't have nuclear weapons.
Yeah. And
What do
then,
you think
know,
the technology is going to be for? And them having to wait, what? Is it 10 years? Even if it was 15, 20 years?
Yeah, I think
Big deal!
I mean, I think it's 10 years and then we give
Yeah.
them even better technology, right? Wasn't that part of the New Deal?
Right, so they have to wait
Part of
10
the-
years, so
yeah.
what?
Part of the New Deal
Yeah.
is us actually, after the 10 years of them not being able to use nuclear technology, us giving them much better, higher tech nuclear technology. Now, you just tell them not to do something, they're going to ignore us, alright? You don't tell somebody not to make nuclear weapons and expect them to do that. It's really simple.
Well, I mean, they also have a culture of lying to the infidels to get what they want.
Yeah, exactly. It's even that's part of their culture, and then
Yeah.
we
And
say,
we do
okay,
and we
we're
do
telling
need
you
to
not
and we do need to wise up to this. I'm gonna skip the Planned Parenthood one because I'm straining my throat a little. I'm gonna skip the Planned Parenthood one because honestly, I've heard so much back and forth about that I don't. I haven't been able to determine the real truth about it. So until I do, I can't really comment on that one. Okay. But here's one we can talk about. Hold on 1 minute. Oh, 1 second, more like. It's still early in the morning. Okay. First Amendment Defense Act. You know what the First Amendment is, don't you?
Yes, I know it is.
Okay. What's the First Amendment?
Well, actually, I learned a saying. Didn't I tell you it? It's agree. It's
Okay.
like it's a little. It's like an acronym. It's a agree. Well, no. Wait, no, that's the wrong one. I learned. It's RAPS. With two
Oh,
Ps.
yeah, oh
Yeah,
yes,
remember?
yes.
Freedom of religion are assembly, a petition, and press.
Uh-huh.
That's the two P's, and speech, which is the S at the end of RAPS. Those are the 5 freedoms that you get that are guaranteed in the First Amendment. And
And as the First Amendment, they are fundamental to the building of America. The freedom of religion, which also means one religion cannot push their rules on another religion in America, which again is important to the Saudi Arabia's call for no criticism of religion. Well, freedom of religion and freedom of speech, two of those rights protected by the First Amendment. Are supposed to protect your ability to practice the religion that you want, but also to be able to protect the right to speak out, even against religion, to speak out about the issues that you feel you need to speak out against, and that even includes criticizing religion if you feel there is a need. It even means speaking out against the government. Okay, so religion, assembly, petition, press, and speech. Well, I mean, of course, the politicians and the media will twist the press to whatever they want, which they can do, but we also have a right to seek the truth, no matter how they try to hide it from us. And Hillary Clinton wants to not protect all these freedoms.
you know,
That alone should disqualify her.
Exactly. You know,
Should.
there's a reason the First Amendment was the First Amendment.
Yeah.
The very
Yeah.
first amendment that they came up with and that they made was the freedoms, the 5 freedoms.
Right.
Religion, assembly, petition, press, and speech. It is literally the main thing that this country was founded on. And, like, freedom, like, that's the American way, no, ideal. And she doesn't want to defend it.
Well, of course she doesn't
The
want
First
to.
Amendment Defense Act, you sort of get what it's about in the name, First Amendment
Yeah.
Defense Act. You can tell that that's trying to defend the First Amendment.
Well, why should we need a defense act for it
We sh-
anyway? We
shouldn't.
should just be protected by the First Amendment itself.
Yeah, but apparently we're not. Apparently there are people out there in America who are trying to limit the First Amendment in whatever way they want. And that should not be happening. So,
Right, in whatever way they want to suit their own needs, to protect from being offended. I am so frustrated with people becoming offended. You know, we'll
So-
never resolve anything if we can't have open and honest discussions,
and
conversation. And the First Amendment is supposed to protect the very ability to do that.
Yeah. It,
And of course, Hillary Clinton doesn't want to protect the Second Amendment either, which is the right to defend yourself.
second, I mean, okay.
First and
First Amendment was the first amendment that they ever came up with, that they ever thought of.
Right.
It was what this was founded on. Second Amendment, number 2. They put it in importance right behind the First Amendment. There's a reason the Founding Fathers put it right behind the First Amendment. And it's because they knew that eventually this government would become a tyranny and that eventually we would need to rise up. That's what the Second Amendment was originally made for.
Well,
Not for
it was made-
hunters.
it
Not
was
for
made-
hunters who need to hunt, but for
Well, hunters who need to hunt, I mean, if they need
Well-
to hunt, they should be protected too.
yeah.
But the original purpose was to give the people the right and the ability to protect themselves from the government should the government become oppressive, as many do. There is actually a law of physics and the universe called entropy. And what it basically says is that eventually everything degrades, everything falls into chaos, everything becomes, over time, less orderly, more eroded. And you see this with governments too. They start out small, a lot of them start out small, start out idealistic, start out as protecting the people, but over time they grow, they become more corrupt, they become more oppressive, and the Founding Fathers knew. I don't know if they, I doubt they attributed it to entropy, but they knew that this was a cycle that happened.
Yeah. And
So,
I don't get it why they don't understand this. I mean, it's a pretty simple concept.
why a lot of people don't understand this.
Yeah, they think like people blame guns for gun violence. Guns are tools.
Well,
Like
But
there's
this-
a phrase, guns don't kill people, people kill people. I mean, that's completely true.
well, it's all about giving a person responsibility for their own actions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need weapons to protect yourself from an oppressive government because the government's going to be pointing weapons at you.
They are.
You know, but someone, you know, goes out on a killing spree. Well, they chose to do that. They are responsible for their actions.
If you're gonna go out on a
Um,
killing spree, if you're gonna go kill a bunch of people, if you're a terrorist, chances are you're not gonna care if you get that gun illegally. Alright? If you're gonna go out and kill a ton of people, it doesn't add that much. You already have probably a life sentence, if not death penalty, for what you did. And then they're worried about the guns they're using. No, they're perfectly fine with getting guns illegally. Like automatic AK-47s, it's actually, without proper tax stamps, you can't get, also, well, Russian imports are illegal in the US. You can't have, well, Russia cannot import their weapons here.
Well, they can.
No, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if that ban wore off, but last time I checked, it is legal for Russian arms to be imported from Russia, trying to destabilize the Russian economy. But where was I? Other than Russia. Which
Talking about
arms?
Russia. Well,
Oh, well, yeah. The arms, it's actually, you can easily convert a semi-automatic AK-47 to a fully automatic AK-47 with specific holes drilled into the...
I'm sure you can,
You
but,
can
but,
easily,
but
I
this,
mean, it doesn't even require a gunsmith to do it. Anybody can look it up online, buy an AK-47, and then do it. I mean, if you get it wrong, then it won't work, but it's easier than you would think.
okay, well, we can talk about weapons and the Second Amendment some other time.
Yeah.
Let's just do a few closing things, because this was originally just talking about the presidential candidates, and of course it's election day. Here's the thing. We know what we want to happen. We want Donald Trump to win. Now, there has been so much corruption and so much voter fraud and so much sabotage revealed from the Democrats' side, so much igniting of violence from their side that they then blame Republicans for, that if Donald Trump does not win, he of course has every right to pick this election apart in an investigation and have people investigate every corner of it for fraud and for sabotage. If it turns out to be that Hillary Clinton won totally fairly, which I highly doubt, if that turns out to be the case, then I kind of question the grip on reality that Americans have. But we'll see what happens. If Donald Trump wins, I hope it will come as a slap in the face of reality to the Democrats. And I wish I could be more neutral in this. I really do. But the Democrats have been offering free healthcare, free college, free and open borders, this unrealistic world for so long that I just can't go along with them anymore. At least not in the current world. So I don't know. Do you have any final thoughts on the election today, or what you want to happen, or yada yada yada? I should take it more seriously than yada yada yada, and I am, but
Well,
kind
okay, so-
of burned out of all this too.
no. I mean,
No.
for a while, it's just been in the elections. Well,
Yeah.
not the elections, because that's just happening today, but the arguments and the polls haven't really changed. Their arguments haven't really changed. I'm pretty sure everybody has already decided who they're going to vote for by now.
That's true, and the candidates, Clinton and Trump, have pretty much been saying the same things for quite a while. We know where they stand.
I don't know anything else.
All right. So, I guess I'll, we'll be voting today. Hope a lot of people turn out to vote. And if you feel pressured to choose one candidate over another from friends, from family, from people around you. Peer pressure is really hard to shake. Just try to go along with the decision that you feel is right. That's all I can ask of anyone. Try to tough it out. We've just got one more day to go. We'll see what happens tonight. And this is Kestrel Raptorial. This is my brother. We will probably be making more talks together, probably of more specialized issues. I think we're even going to do a fossil entry together, a versus fossil entry. So we'll be doing that at some point. So till then, we'll see you all.